Welcome to episode 3 of the Under-19s MPNFL football show from GameFace. I'm joined by Dan Lonigan and we're here at the Matty Rewalt Vision Day for Mercedes-Benz Brighton and also known as Purple Shark Day. Dan, no 19s this morning. Sorrento don't have any under-19s and Germana do cop a bye on that. But the reserves are playing at the moment and we're going to get into the show.
Looking forward to it, Matt. Great to be here. It's a terrific day, the Matty Rewalt Foundation Day, the Purple Day, and we thank Mercedes-Benz Brighton for the work that they've done. Russell Morris and the crew, the former Hawthorn and St Kilda star, right behind that today. Jeff Quirk, who's the owner of Mercedes-Benz Brighton. And we just look forward to what will be a great day. A lot of money to be raised and some excellent footy as well, as we also look at what's happened in the under-19 so far. A bit tighter in Division 2. Division 1, you can see a bit of a chasm in the competition so far, so early on.
Yeah, a bit tighter in Division 2, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump straight into the scores for Division 2 from last week, as we didn't record a show, but we're back this week for episode 3. Remembering that we're only covering the scores that are in the GameFace record app, and as I look to my right, all scores are in the app, so I'm going to start with the results from last week. Red Hill 18-6, 114 to Crib Point 310-28. So Red Hill continuing some great form off the back of last year as well. Rye 12-13, 85 to Tyab 5 straight, 30. And Coringal 23-17, 155 to 1511 Seaford. So Coringal again showing a great display of football to start the year. The reigning premiers in Division 2, 10-17, 77 Langwarrin to 5-3, 33 Somerville, and Hastings 18-19, 127 to Devon Meadows 128, who registered a goal last week and are gaining some more players, which we'll speak about a little bit later in the show. Chelsea had a bye and Pearsdale had a bye. So Dan, I'll let you take us through the Division 1 under-19 scores as we just flick through the GameFace record app.
And again, as you say, Matt, we've just got the scores of the teams that played and have provided the information. So we need you to provide the information every week. Frankston YCW, they had a 34-point win over the Frankston Bombers. Bonbeach on top of the table. Too good for Pines, but they're improving all the time under Steve Jackson, 58-33. And Edithvale, Aspendale opened their account, but their season has not been great so far. They were too good for Rosebud. They've had a big win there by some 89 points. And Mount Eliza doing pretty well against Mornington, a 39-point win there for Mount Eliza, the reigning premiers against Mornington, who did make the finals last season, Matt.
It is quite clear to see that the scores are a little bit closer in Division 2 to Division 1. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern. I think that there's the haves and the have-nots in Division 1, and there always sort of has been. I know Edithvale Aspendale are a team that are struggling a bit. I spoke to Peter O'Connor and other people involved with the club, Shane Ward, when they played the Pines a few weeks ago, and the Pines came from behind to beat them, that they've got a lot of bottom-age players. They'll get better as the year goes on, but they're giving other teams a start after dropping their first 3 matches. So they're one team that have dropped. You always expect YCW to be up there. Mount Eliza are always there. Pines are improving, which is great because 2 or 3 years ago they were hardly competitive and they were just a blip on the radar in the under-19 competition, I believe, Matt. So there is a concern, I would have thought, in that competition. In Division 2, there are teams that struggle in the seniors that are doing better in the under-19s. Crib Point, I think that Coringal and Red Hill are clearly the best 2 teams.
Yep.
But Crib Point are good, Langwarrin are improving,
youth.
Rye are good.
Yep.
Somerville have been okay in the under-19s over the years.
They'll have some players come back as well. They've had some injuries.
No doubt. So it's more even, and I think you'll find that there'll be a bit more of a battle for the top 5 than there will be in Division 1. And
something that people forget is these top-age kids from last year in the successful teams go up and play reserves now or play seniors now. So you're not always going to have a strong under-19s team. It depends if how many top-age kids you do have and how many you can hang on from the bottom-age years to the top-age years as well and create that culture to want to play under-19s football, because it's a big drop-off in kids not playing football after under-19s.
I've been big on this, and I say it most weeks, that you've just got to let kids play. If a team's got a lot of extra players, if it's surplus to their needs at the time, and we know that Mount Eliza are one of those teams that just have juniors coming out of trees with all the
which is a great thing for them.
Absolutely, the good feeder junior clubs around them, including Mount Martha. We know what a great club they are, and they've had 2 number 1 draft picks in recent times in Jacob Wiedering and the brilliant Lockie Whitfield from the GWS Giants, Mount Martha, and then all those players go on to the high level or to the under-19s and play with Mount Eliza, but they should go and play with other clubs. And a team like Devon Meadows is a team that could benefit from that. At least they're trying to get a team out there. Sorrento not in that position at the moment, but Sorrento have said, and they did say after the seniors last week, they hope that next year they'll have an under-19 team. And we need to have them having an under-19 team.
Yes, we do. But we don't want to go too hard on Mount Eliza either. I did have a chat to Shane Foss during the week, Dan, and he said that a lot of the kids want to stay at Mount Eliza because they've got a belief in being successful. And they know if they can get into the team at the right time of the year, they've got a chance to possibly win a premiership. So that's why they've got such good numbers and a good culture down there as well, as I did have a chat with Shane Foss. So I think we've probably been a little bit too hard on Mount Eliza.
Why don't they be allowed to be lent and play elsewhere? And if they play really well, they know then that there's an opportunity for them to go back to Mount Eliza. Why doesn't a rule be put in place where you're not playing at the moment in our team, but you're not far away? Go and have a game at a Devon Meadows, or go and have a game at a Hastings or a Tive, who are battling to get numbers every week, even though Hastings are in the top 5 at the moment. At least you're playing footy, at least you're staying fit, match fit, and then if an opportunity comes about, there's some injuries with the Mount Eliza team, you're the next cab off the rank.
Yeah, it just depends on the kid themselves. You can't actually put the onus on the clubs. I don't think the club just wants to see as many of the kids play, for their club, but you can't always blame the club for it. It's got to be the actual kid's decision if he wants to go and play somewhere else.
Doubt.
But look, I think it's a fair point, but I think we've probably been a little bit too harsh on Mount Eliza to start the year. I think they've got a good culture, and when you're successful, you don't necessarily want to leave the place to play elsewhere, but that's my opinion. But to finish off this first segment, we're going to go to the ladders for Division 1 and Division 2, and we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the Under-19s football show for MPNFL Division 1 and Division 2. We're going to go to the goal-kicking leaderboards. And Dan, I want you to run us through Division 1.
Jack Sullivan of Bond Beach, with his team going well, leading with 11. Closely followed, Matt, by Zach Staggard, who's kicked 9. Both of these players have had a bag of 6 in the first couple of rounds. Leading Division 2 is Thomas Panich of Crib Point with 15 goals. And he kicked 10 a couple of weeks ago.
Goals,
yeah,
mate.
Great effort.
And he plays his first senior game for Crib Point today.
That's terrific for a team that's battling. It means that they lose him from the under-19s, but you've got to give kids an opportunity if they're in form, no doubt about that. Josh Dormer of Langwarrin, close second on 14, but 13 of those came in a game a couple of weeks ago, so maybe a little bit more consistency needed by Josh. Let's, though, have a look at the rest of the leaderboards, how they're shaping up for Division 1 and Division 2.
Welcome back to the Under-19s football show for the MPNFL Division 1 and Division 2 here from Sorrento on Matty Rewalt Vision Day and Purple Shark Day. Dan, we've had a chance to jump on the phones to the coaches of Division 1 and Division 2, and we've got a piece of news from each club. Just to give the punters out there a bit of an update and hear some of these kids hear their name. So Andrew Wiskin is very happy with how they're travelling out at Crib Point, but even more satisfied about having players run through the first within Jet Bauer, Cooper Wiskin, and even having a couple of debutantes this week in Harry Waterfall and Tom Panich, who kicked a bag of 10 a couple of weeks ago and is leading the Division 2 goal kickers. So they're travelling well. On to Devon Meadows. Great news for Devon Meadows. 25 listed players now. And
that's wonderful.
It's really great. They started off with 16 round 1 when we called the first game for Kringle and Devon Meadows. So the players welcome aboard Jade and Pezzamino. They also add Bailey Mackey, Kyle Corder, and Brendan Mirabito. So really good work to you guys getting around the Devon Meadows under-19s, and good luck today against Hastings. Coach Mike Treat, very happy with how their captain's going. Stephen Taplesay, he's been a standout in most early games, being the captain, and probably isn't too far away from a senior game, I wouldn't think. Corey Badham's got his first game in the ones last week for Kringle, so they're starting to rotate some players through the ones as they start to really lead the Division 2.
They're going beautifully, Kringle as a club.
Langwarrin, we touched on it only a second ago. Josh Dormer booted 13 goals the other week. I think it was 13-3. I chucked him a quick inbox on Facebook to make sure. He's a good mate of mine, Josh. And Mitch Charles started the year in the ones for Langwarrin. Played a few practice matches, but he's back in the under-19s to strengthen their hopes there as well. Matty Watts, a great character. He's very happy with the effort of the team. And they've only got 3 top-age kids from last year in that same Langwarrin team. So I think they're going okay for what cattle they do have.
Oh, no doubt. And I think they should make the finals, which means that that'll help them in their quest to go a step further next year, considering they've got so many bottom age players.
Pearsdale are really happy to have a list of 30 to select from when everyone's healthy. They do have 8 injuries at the moment, including their captain, Connor Benwell, with a broken wrist, and one of their key backs who also usually gets the nod for school footy as well. With a shoulder injury there. So some players come back for Pearsdale. They look a lot better this year as well.
They do. They do. And their percentage is excellent. They've only won one game, but their percentage is excellent. So I think that will stand them in good stead should they manage to win a few more games later in the season with their percentage.
David Birtles is happy with Seaford. 2 players that have come back to the club since under-13s, which is great to see, returning to football at a young age. That is Campbell Bryant and Matthew Robbins, so great work there. Also, Isaac Nippard is having a good start to the year. May see some senior footy, David Birtles reckons. Isaac, so great work, mate. And he's happy with how the defence is holding up. Moving on to Tyab, an injury update with Mason Barker doing a hamstring a couple of weeks ago. So all the best with the injury there and the recovery, Mason, and hope to see you back playing again soon. Somerville, Chris Dalmo, new coach for the under-19s this year at Somerville. Max Irwin returned last week from a couple of games in New Zealand. And great work to Lockie Haskett, who got his first senior game for the club and played pretty well. Mitch Mantle will play played one of his first games in the seniors last week as well, and did a job on Billy Rolfe, one of the key recruits from Somerville to Langwarrin, and Chris Dalmo reckons he gave him a bath. So great work to him there. And Chris Dalmo believes Jack Moroney is banging on the door for selection, so look out. Somerville are travelling beautifully in the seniors. Have probably shocked the Little League a little bit.
Well, they should be undefeated because they lost to Somerville by they lost to Seaford by a point, and they were storming home. But other than that, they've been outstanding, and their coach has been saying that we might be a bit better than most people have anticipated, and I think that's the way it's working out so far.
And it's promising to see so many under-19s putting their hands up to get for selection as well.
Yeah, it's good.
Red Hill flying at the moment, have 8 players out at the moment, still travelling great. Stingrays listed player Josh Johnson booted 6 last week, and they're really trying to get him back into the Stingrays. They're really making sure that he's having a good game and being put in the right spots to perform well, so he can get back into the Stingrays and really make his case for hopefully the AFL draft at the end of the year. Dan, I'd love you to take us through Division 1.
Well, Reece Hogan debuted in the ones for Bond Beach in round 1 and went down with an abductor injury, but will return into the ones this week, so good luck to Reece. Coach Peter Williamson, Willow Narrows at Bond Beach's good start to the year, down to a tough pre-season and having kids from last year stick around for their top age year, and that certainly does help with the experience. Will Dunn and Stingrays premiership player from last year holding spots in the seniors for Bond Beach, which is good news. Now, Dramana riddled with injuries, but have 3 under-17s that have been playing: Jaden Tooth, Caleb Hackling and Mason Smith. Edie Asp, we know that they've got a young team this year. The Zach Onall's calf is all good after the Pines game. Edie have got a fresh list from this year with only 5 players on the list from last year, so they'll be looking to gel more each week. Frankston Bombers, the list has grown in a healthy fashion, Matt, since pre-season, and Coach Mark Green is happy with their efforts and particularly happy with their leaders, Liam Wishart and Dylan Garrett.
Which, just quickly, Dan, Liam Wishart plays his first game in the seniors today for the Frankston Bombers, so good luck to Liam Wishart playing his first game.
It's wonderful, Matt, to see so many young players getting an opportunity at the highest level so early in the season. Now, Frankston YCW, no under-17s for YCW this year, which means they've got a squad of 30, which Coach Sean Staggart is happy with, to have players compete for spots. Only 3 top-age players left from last year, though, but they're very handy players in Josh Beringer, Tom Baker and Bailey Engwin. The Pines, now Tom Taggart, I know his dad really well, lived with him in Hamilton for a little while. That was an interesting house a long time ago.
So he there's a bit of a story to this one. I know how you're going to read it in a second, but Tom Taggart has kicked 3 goals in the last 2 weeks, each game, and has been sneaking his magnet onto the senior board trying to get a game under Paddy Swain.
He mustn't be far away. Is he far away?
Well, I've heard he's been getting them out the back, and if that's the way he gets them, he could probably do it in the seniors.
He could.
But that is a strong side, and he has been performing well. But he's been playing a little bit of some tricks on Paddy Swain, trying to show him that he's around.
And Tom McDermott has still got to come back in that senior side. We know what a good goal sneak he is.
Yep.
Mount Eliza flying at the moment as expected. Shane Foss says the culture is great. Everyone has a huge belief in being successful again this year. Mornington, Wilbara Hosking, he's had to retire from footy due to a serious ankle injury, so all the best to him. really bad when you suffer an ankle injury at such a young age and you're forced out. And they welcome back Stingrays listed player Nathan Heath. So great news for the Bulldogs in that regard. And in regard to Rosebud, they had a bye last week, so we'll update their situation next week on the Under-19 Footy Show.
We're going to go into a break with an interview that Glenn Carter got with a couple of the Under-19s from Bomb Beach that are absolutely flying. We'll be back after the interview and the break.
With a couple of the young guns from Bomb Beach Under-19s. Let's start by introducing yourselves.
My name's Kobe Sears.
I'm Anthony De Silva.
All right, boys, so 3 in a row. Tell us, what's the difference? Bomb Beach Under-19s last year struggled to find a win, and this year all of a sudden you've got the W's 3 in a row. Tell us what's going on.
Well, our 17s and 19s merged together, and we had a pretty solid 17s. So it's got a lot of numbers, got a selection now.
Everyone's playing their roles really well.
Yeah.
It's all
So as an Under-17 side last year, tell us about your season.
Yeah, good. Personally, I was out for the season, but we made the grand final.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Okay, so how many have you come up through to the Under-19s from that Under-17 squad?
Oh God.
About 11 or 12.
Yeah, 11, 12.
You've got a brand new coach.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying him?
Yeah, he's great.
Really well, gives really good feedback
Yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
So you had a big game today against CDS, and you guys led all the way. What's been the difference? do you think?
We just had composure when we had the ball towards the end. When they attacked us early, we held our ground and did all right.
You're starting to grow in confidence. Confidence makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does.
And who kicked all the goals for you today, boys?
Brad Tilley,
How many did he get?
4 or 5.
Where is he? You couldn't get him in for an interview.
No, he lives in Cranbourne.
Yeah,
He's in Cranbourne, does he?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Any of your players miss any weeks due to Stingray commitments, or
Yeah.
called up to the seniors? Who are they?
We have Reece Hogan and Will Dunn, who's playing seniors right now.
Yeah.
We had Kyle Hindle, who's out right now, but he's on the Stingrays list. Braden Chappell and all that.
So what's a pass for the season, boys? What do you want to achieve? We get to the end of the home and away. Where would you like to be sitting?
Top 2, top 3. One of them.
Playing
It'd be
Danny,
nice.
hopefully.
Playing against
Mentalizer probably.
Mentalisers in terms of beat.
Yeah,
really
definitely.
good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck for the rest of the season, and thanks for joining GameFace.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Under-19s football show from Sorrento. Purple Shark Day, plenty of people around. Tom Lynch, we got an interview with Dan, Brendan Favola, Marcus Harris, people everywhere. It's going to be a great day for a great cause.
It certainly is, and it's all been organised by Mercedes-Benz Brighton, and we'll catch up with the fly Russell Morris, who plays a big part with Mercedes-Benz
Great man, Russell
Brighton.
Morris.
And of course, Jeff Quirk, the owner, is down here as well today as part of a massive day for the Sorrento and Dramana football clubs. Let's look at Round 5, Division 2 in the Under-19s. Tips for next week. Big game, 2 top 5 teams, Coringal and Langwarrin. You'd have to pick Coringal, whether it's at home or away. It is at home, at Coringal's home ground, which is in great shape, and the club room's going magnificently. Langwarrin, though, certainly an improving side with so many young players.
But I think Kringle will be too strong.
I think so. Crib Point to beat Seaford comfortably.
I think that'll be a good game next week. Seaford have showed some signs of going with some of the top 5 teams. I reckon it'll be a good game. I'm actually going to lean towards Seaford against Crib Point, with having maybe Tom Panich hopefully hold a spot in the ones for Crib Point, and good on those guys from Crib Point, from the 19s that are holding spots in the seniors. But I'm going to go with Seaford there.
Devon Meadows and Tyab. Look, I think that Tyab would be too strong, but these are 2 struggling teams in the under-19s. But as we've said, great to see Devon Meadows getting a full team now with new players coming to the club, and that'll make them more competitive.
They'll be more excited to get closer to a team, I think, Dan. I think they're going to really step up against Tyab. I think it'll be a close game. I think Tyab will be too good, but it'll be great to see Devon Meadows being competitive.
And kick a few more goals.
Yeah. Exactly right. The more Sharons they see fly over the umpire's hat, the more confidence they gain.
Pearsdale and Somerville. Pearsdale, when they win big. Somerville probably not as strong in the under-19s this year as they were last year, but I still think Somerville can beat Pearsdale.
Yep, I think Somerville will just beat Pearsdale, but Pearsdale could prove us wrong. Ryan, Red Hill.
One of the matches of the day. Ride home, always hard to beat, but Red Hill hard to beat anywhere. And look, they've got some unfinished business from last year. I know last year's gone. It's not about retribution anymore, but they'll just be wanting to perform well, and I think Red Hill will win.
Yep, Red Hill too strong for me, but Rye, surprise us. Looking to see you guys step up after a good year last year. Hastings and Chelsea. I reckon this is probably game of the round. I think this is game of the round. Close-wise, I think both teams are playing decent football, and they've got a good time to measure themselves in round 5 next week. Who do you think, Hastings or Chelsea?
I'll go Hastings at home.
Hastings at home. I'm going to go against you there. I'm going to say Chelsea, beating Hastings out there, building on some good form, and hopefully having some injured players come back as well. Division 1 to finish off, Dan.
Yeah, Mornington and Bond Beach. Bond Beach undefeated at the moment. Mornington not going as well. I think Bond Beach will win that.
Yep,
Continue
Bond Beach.
Their great start to the season.
Yep, Mornington are looking better this year, which is great to see. So good on the guys out at Mornington. But I think Bomb Beach will be too strong based on the start to the year. Dramana versus Mount Eliza. I think Mount Eliza will be too strong for Dramana. Rowan Bleeker doing everything he can to get as many numbers there and a good culture down at Dramana. So really good work to Rowan Bleeker. But I think Shane Foster's mob will be too good for Dramana.
Stephen Jackson's Pines at home to Frankston Bombers, and what a great job he's done, Steve, to get that team up and about, not only get the numbers, but get them competitive, get them in the mix for a top 5 spot, and they'll want to keep going down that path. I know the Bombers have had some success in making finals in the under-19s in recent years, but I think Pines in a pretty close one.
And Frankston YCW and Rosebud, just before we get on to that, I think Pines will be too strong too, Dan. And Frankston YCW, Rosebud. Frankston YCW are flying at the moment under Sean Staggart and got good numbers. And Rosebud have got a bit of a problem with numbers. They've got a 17s team and a 19s team, but I'm pretty sure that they have been struggling for numbers to get on the park each week, which I find is a little bit odd. Just a whisper I heard over the week, so hopefully their team does get enough numbers on the park. But Frankston YCW for that one. EDS would have matched up against Sorrento's under-19s, but no under-19s for Sorrento, as we already know. So EDS have a bye
before a big seniors match next week. So there you go. Another big show on the under-19s for GameFace, and it's great being here at Sorrento. And we look forward, of course, to next week. And if you have any questions, stories or topics you want us to speak about, send GameFace an inbox on Facebook for our under-19 show. Matt?
Any news, get to your coaches. We'll be making phone calls during the week. We love hearing new news, especially when players are playing seniors and coming back from injury. Thanks for joining us here at Sorrento. Matty Rewalt Vision Day, Purple Shark Day. It's another episode of the Under-19s Footy Show. Get your game face on.